Hello, welcome to Wildwood Teaching. I'm Nicole Travillas-Frabel, and we are in the midst of solving group time, of making our group times more engaging for children, particularly when you are outside with a bunch of distractions. Now, if you've watched the previous 3 videos, maybe you've heard that this series of a focus on engaging group times outside was inspired by Rita, who answered a survey that I put out and saying that she's trying to do her story times outside a library with a lot of outside noise and weather happening, and just wanting some ideas for how to deal with the distractions. And I think specifically for Rita, she may have been dealing, just because it was a library story time, a lot more with toddlers than with preschoolers. And of course, toddlers are their own special breed. And the first thing that I am going to say is that everything we covered in the past 3 videos about making group time engaging, keeping it short, keeping it relevant, using a lot of movement, using props, is going to go double for the younger age groups. And so I'm going to talk specifically now. What we have when I do toddler story times is I'm a little bit lucky and probably very similar to a library story time in that I have a caregiver child session that meets once a week where parents or another caregiver comes with the toddler. And I'm going to say that that is super helpful in one way if you are able to enlist the parents in helping you out with the toddlers. And so before I get into that, and this is one thing for parents to know as well, is that I am going to say that you can't, just as we know that with preschool, you can't just take first grade and make it smaller. With toddlers, you can't just take preschool and make it smaller, right? The developmental level is different. And really, for the most part, reading a story in front of a group of toddlers is not where they're at. They are at lap sitting, or maybe a small group around you. So I'm not saying don't use books with toddlers, but I am saying that for me, that book is not what I'm doing with a whole group of toddlers, particularly if I don't have the parents to help me. Then I'm really leaning into and using the puppets, using the flannel pieces, and or doing a yoga story, really making my storytelling interactive for the children. And then that book is going to come at a different time of my day. So when you enlist the parents, the one thing is to explain this to them, that your child, where they're at right now, this sitting as a group and listening is something new to them. So toddlers may go in and out of the group time when things are attracting them and when they're not, and they may move around. What I encourage the parents to do is to stay here as long as it's safe. So you got to know, if you have a fence around your area, great. If you are in a wide open forest, that might not be, the best thing. The parent might be standing next to the toddler, keeping them safe, but maybe not engaging, so that they are paying attention to what the group is doing. Because if the parent is engaged and what you're doing is engaging, the toddlers will come back when something catches their attention. I do encourage that lap sitting for the parent. So, they can have that lap sitting experience, that closeness, that relationship with a story, which is what you're building when you read stories one-on-one with children. And then, because we are outdoors and because we are a forest program, I'm okay with parents, bribing their children a little bit with a snack. Maybe my group time is also snack time for the children, which can keep the toddlers still a little bit. And so, um, you know, you're going to want to keep each thing short. So a lot of transitions to a new activity, right? Here's my finger play that I'm doing. Here are my puppets. Here's my interactive piece where I'm going to tell a story about a missing dog who is hiding beneath some of the shapes. Can you figure out where he is? And it's okay if a bunch of kids come up and actually touch the shape and point to it. You have to be okay with the movement surrounding toddlers and toddlers being around you in a group. And I'm going to go quickly from one thing to the next so that there's not a lot of downtime for them to wander. And again, especially if you don't have those parents, hopefully you do have some other adults. And then, one teacher can, lap sit with a couple of children, you lap sit with other children. I have told stories with children sitting on my lap, with children to my side. I go ahead and let them touch the puppet. So the one thing I'm going to say with toddlers is just be aware of where they are developmentally. Include a lot of movement, include a lot of props, but kind of check your expectations. And just be aware that they are going to move in and out. They are going to want to be close to you. They are going to want to touch every new thing that you bring out, and find a way to lean into it. All right, so I hope this series on making group times more engaging, more interactive was helpful for you. We are going to move on to other outdoor routines that you might find helpful in the next coming weeks. So I will see you there.